Hello and welcome to Endurance, your weekly spiritual workout. I'm Nathan, and this week's episode is titled Giving It Your All. We're looking at the idea of giving all of our energy, both in physical exercise and in our spiritual journey. But of course, we can't always give 110%. We need times of rest. We need to consider how much energy we're giving so that we can distribute it among our various activities. Last week, we looked at remembering on Remembrance Sunday. And for this episode, Stephen is going to unpack this idea of giving it your all, giving everything you've got in your running the race. I hope you enjoy it. And obviously, if you want to keep up to date with all that we produce here at the Berry Bunch, then you can sign up to our newsletter by going to www.berrybunch.family. Enjoy, and I'm Nathan. Some measure strength by the amount of weight you can lift, others by the amount of blows you can take. But God measures strength by how much you are willing to stand for truth. Hashtag speak truth.
You'll never guess what. Dave the dog has his own show and it's called Dave Unleashed.
Are we sure about this?
Well, I'm going to be there on hand. I'm going to help him.
What mayhem are we to expect?
Well, to keep him on track, he's got story time, he's got art time. So, and I'll be there to help him.
What could possibly go wrong? So here we are for another GoDeeper with me, Stephen. And this week, as Nathan said, we're talking about giving it your all. So in exercise, obviously, we've got to give ourselves, we've got to put our effort into it. If you're going for a run or cycle or swim or whatever your preferred exercise, you've got to give it some oomph, haven't you? And the same is in the rest of life. If you've got a job to do or studies or whatever work you might have to do, jobs and whatnot, you got to give your all, put some effort into it. And Matthew 22:37 says this. He said to them, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind." That is giving your all. We've got to give our all to God. We've got to surrender all that we are to God to serve him best. It is the best thing to do, is to give everything that we have, all that we are, to God and surrender ourselves to him. I've done it, and so many people have also done it. And I think sometimes it's best to do it again sometimes, because we can drift off a bit, maybe lose our way a bit, and so we can resurrender all that we are to God and commit our lives to him wholeheartedly. And I could stop there, but there's more to this than just giving of our all, because you can't run flat out all the time. So the calculation for your max heart rate is your age subtracted from 220. So my max heart rate would be 202. And if I were to run for any amount of time at that heart rate, I would be knackered. It would not be good for me. And the same goes for things like tithing or giving of our time. We cannot give all of it all of the time. That would not be good. You have to there's a balance to be had. So if you give all that you have, you're going to be inched up, because it's just not a good idea. We should use all that we have, all our money, all our time, to the glory of God without giving it all away, if you know what I mean. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says this: "So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do everything for the glory of God." So for instance, tithing, 10% is usually a good amount to give away. But if you gave everything, you'd have problems. But even the littles that you give for shopping or energy bills, tax credits, all that sort of stuff, whatever you're giving away, you can do to the glory of God, because you've got to spend those amounts of money. Somehow, if you do it in the right heart, it's for the glory of God. And the same with giving of your time. You've got to do boring stuff like shopping and work and stuff like that. And you do that to the glory of God. You can't obviously give that to God in church stuff. And there's an element of learning to say no sometimes, because a lot of people can get a bit caught up in church stuff, activities at church and whatnot, and they do too much. And that is not good, as we said. You can't run flat out all the time in the same way. You can't always be doing church activities. So you have to learn to say no, which is something that I don't necessarily struggle with, but others might, in trying to say no to things that they don't need to do or can't do. And another point that we have touched on before is avoiding distraction. If you're going to give all your effort, you can be distracted and then you won't be able to give all your effort. If all of this isn't necessarily making all that sense, is because I've got a cold. I'm going to have to blame it on that. Like the whole endurance episode, if anything goes wrong, even slightly wrong, it's because we've got colds. We need to avoid distraction, which is something we talked about before on endurance. So to conclude, to summarize all of that, we need to give all our effort into what we are doing, but we can't give all of what. Let me rephrase that. Don't give all your money and time away, but do use it all for God's glory. That is giving it your all.
2 minutes a day can change your world, and in just a thought, that's kind of what I do. Because I take the ordinary moments of life and think, how can this apply to faith, to life, to moving through this world with people around us? How can a tiny spider or the handle of a microwavable rice pot affect our life, and how can it help us learn something about ourselves and the world around us? So here's what I thought. Have you ever wondered what red flags, shredded tires, persistence, holes, dishwater tea, rice maker handles, tape measures, giant spiders that are not, and stripy fabric all have in common? Well, you're not alone, and they actually link wonderfully together, as you will find out in the book. I'm just going to read this out from Reverend Johnny Douglas, who wrote the foreword very kindly for me. Just a Thought is a collection of pregnant brain thoughts, but it's so much more than this. Andy reflects a determination, character and grasp of God and his loving purpose and wise ways. As we go through life, there's all these things that go on. There's all these exciting things of life. But actually, it's the ordinary and it's the normal from which we can learn so much. Each little chapter will take you a few moments to read, but hopefully will get your brain working and ready for the day. Just a Thought.
Oh, excellent talk, Stephen. I liked your conclusion in particular. I mean, despite your cold, you seem to have managed to summarise rather well.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was wondering, how are we supposed to know how much to give at any one time? I mean, you mentioned we can't always give everything that we have. We can't always give all of our income to the church or to missions or to other people. We do need some of it for ourselves, and in the same way in physical exercise, we can't give all our energies to exercising. We need some energy for just day-to-day activities.
Did I say that? That's brilliant. That's
Well,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so, but how do we know how much to give?
How do we know how much to give? Very good question. Sorry, brain fog is getting there. It's downloading. Well, we listen to the Holy Spirit. We pray about it. If you look at, for instance, on the subject of money, you take what you've got and you pray about it, very simply. You look at it and then you follow the peace, whatever seems right, whatever seems peaceable.
Yes, of course, because we don't want to be religious. We only ever give 10% of our income to a particular cause, a particular charity or particular church. We need to be flexible and do, as you say, as the Holy Spirit leads us.
Absolutely.
And also, just in case some people are not so familiar with slang, British slang, could you specify the meaning of the word oomph?
Okay. I don't know. A bit of oomph is, it's some energy, some life,
Enthusiasm.
vitality, enthusiasm. Thank you.
I see, yes. Okay, so oomph, for any of you who are wondering, is basically enthusiasm or energy.
And on that subject, I also used in stuck, which means in trouble.
Yes, I was going to ask as well.
Yeah. Lots of English slang.
In stuck, in dire straits.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So, so to conclude, basically, we need to make sure we give everything to God. We surrender everything to God because we can't give part of our lives to God and keep the rest for ourselves. We do need to give everything to use for God. However, we need to apply wisdom and follow the wisdom of the Holy Spirit, the guidance of the Holy Spirit, in knowing how much of our energy to give and how much of our resources to give in certain specific circumstances.
There are many ways to keep in touch with the Berry Bunch. Visit our website and sign up to the Berry Bites newsletter so that you can be notified of all our videos, posts, exciting news and seasonal events.
Subscribe to our Vimeo and YouTube channels where we post brand new homegrown video resources every week.
Join us on Ding Dash, a fabulous place that connects people from all around the world. It's social media as it should be. Come join the rebellion.
Like us on Facebook, where we hang out and post extra things to encourage and inspire you. We're on Twitter and Tumblr too. You can also follow us on Instagram, where we share extra photos from the world of the Berry Bunch.
If you've enjoyed any of our posts or videos, share it with a friend and encourage them too. And if you want to encourage us, then like, comment and share on what we make. To help support the ministry we freely provide, check us out on Patreon, where you can support us financially as you feel led.